Hello.
Welcome back, Weekly.
Welcome back, guys. Today we are doing the July recap. You know how much I love these episodes.
Her faves.
I know. All right. So for those of you that are tuning in for the first time, the July recap, or the monthly recap really, is going to be kind of fun, new news, basically.
Exactly.
So sometimes it could be just news from the media. Sometimes it's new research that's coming out, but anything that's medically related, but it kind of takes a little break when we talk about our other things on our podcast. So it kind of just lightens up the mood a little bit. And there's a lot of interesting things that we talk about, like things on the news and stuff. So we really love these episodes, and we hope that you guys enjoy the July recap.
Exactly. So we try to just look at anything that's come out in the news that caught our eye in a medical sense. We send each other these things. And of course, we can't cover everything. So it's just like we pick the most highlighted ones, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And if you guys hear of any of these topics that you guys want us to get more in depth in it and make a full-on episode, let us know.
Yeah.
More than happy to do that. Or if you wanted to cover something in a recap, let us know in any of the forms of social media. We're like everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah. And anyways, let's go ahead and thank some new patrons. We got two new patrons.
Yay.
So we got Jessica. Thank you, Jessica, for tuning in.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Tony.
So we got two new ones. Thank you so much. You guys keep us
going. Oh my God, James.
What's up?
Okay, that is us, and that is Julie and I taking a swig of our Celsius.
Exactly, for those of you that are just listening. So anyways, let's jump into the first one.
Guys,
Take it away.
It is hot in Miami.
It's so freaking hot. And
Oh man.
I've lowered the AC. I've done
fan is on.
everything's on, but it is
My goodness.
climate change is real, man.
It's hot on her. Okay.
Real hot.
All right, so back to the recap.
All right.
So we're starting off strong.
Yeah.
So counterfeit Ozempic is a global problem.
Yeah.
This is by Becky Upham, and this was released on June 25th, 2024 on everydayhealth.com. So the WHO, or the World Health Organization, was warned about fake Ozempic being sold in several countries, including the US and the UK and Brazil. So these counterfeit drugs are dangerous because they might contain harmful substances or different drugs, and the needles used might not even be sterile, increasing the risk of infection. What is wrong with humans today?
I know.
In the US, the FDA has seized thousands of fake Ozempic units and is working with the manufacturer Novo Nordisk to investigate.
Yeah.
So some people have reported side effects like nausea, vomiting, and more severe issues like low blood sugar and seizures from using these fake drugs. The high demand for Ozempic, combined with its limited availability and high cost, has made it easier for counterfeiters to thrive. So to stay safe, only get Ozempic if it's a valid prescription from a licensed pharmacist, and be wary of online sellers offering it at a discounted price or without a prescription. Always check your medications packaging for signs of tampering, and if you suspect it's fake, report it to your healthcare provider and the FDA. So this is, in one of our recaps, or in possibly our Ozempic episode, our semaglutide episode, we talked about compounded things, compounding just means that you're using multiple things in one. But a lot of people are expressing that this is pure semaglutide, and it's not, right? It's compounded medications. So just make sure that when you are getting these injections they're spreading like wildfire. It's actually pretty incredible, all the things that Ozempic has led to discovery wise.
Every recap, I have to mention it at least once.
We should probably just dedicate an episode on new shit coming out.
Yeah, we should. I think we're gonna have to do a new semaglutide and tirzepitide.
Exactly, because so many, now that it's been used for a while now, there's so many new research on things that we didn't know would fertility and all. It's crazy. Yeah. So, but anyways, guys,
which is one of the reasons why this is happening.
Yes, exactly. So it's obviously on a shortage because now maybe it's not so much weight loss. Maybe it's for other things that they are using it for. And of course, the main one, diabetes. Okay. So
where it came from.
Exactly.
So it's
so it's definitely sometimes a little hard to find. So there are a lot of really ugly people in this world that are faking these sorts of medications and selling it for thousands of dollars. And
I've seen it on TikTok that some people have even gone to Mexico
to go get it.
to get it.
Oh my God.
And then the ones in Mexico, like sometimes they're real, they're legit from like an actual pharmacy, or they've gotten it in stock, or whatever the case may be. Or they're the counterfeit ones.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, if you're in the US, if you pay for it out of pocket because you don't have, for instance, if you have diabetes, then you could get semaglutide, which is Ozempic, Ozempic, because Wegovy is the FDA approved one for weight loss. Or you get Mounjaro, which is tirzepitide. If you have diabetes, then you get that covered under your insurance. But if you want to get either Ozempic or Mounjaro, which is only like FDA approved for diabetes, then if you want to get that one, but you don't have diabetes, so you have to pay for it out of pocket, and that's thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Not everybody can freaking afford that. That's
yeah.
crazy. Thousands of dollars, like over $1,000 per month. So that's crazy. So then now these companies have done like Wegovy, which is semaglutide for weight loss, FDA approved for weight loss. And then there's Zepbound, that is FDA approved version of Mounjaro for weight loss.
For weight loss.
And then those are covered under your insurance, but they're so difficult to get because the demand is incredibly high.
Yeah.
So then you have these people like doing these fake ones. And I've seen on TikTok, you could, of course, Craigslist and the dark web and stuff like that. And then they send you these things. And there's even other medications that they say, oh, it's even better than all of these and whatever. And people are freaking injecting these into themselves without knowing
Unfortunately.
what is it. Dude, we're talking about injecting something into yourself. That could be compounded with God knows what. You don't know what's in that liquid.
No.
You know, and that's a scary thing. And that's why you get all these crazy side effects and infections and stuff like that. It's just, if you're injecting yourself with something, make sure what it is.
Yeah.
It's not a game. It's not a cream that you're putting on. And even so, but still, like, you don't know what you're injecting yourself.
Yeah, you're literally injecting something into your body. So you should just double check where this is coming from, right?
Don't go to Craigslist for that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right.
So the next one, taking a daily multivitamin may not help you live longer. So this is by Geigen Mamiser on June 26, 2024, published on Healthline. A recent large study has found that taking a daily multivitamin may not actually help you live longer. In fact, it might even slightly increase your risk of dying earlier. Jesus. Anyways, about 1 in 3 adults in the United States takes a multivitamin, spending around $8 billion a year on these supplements. Many people take them hoping to stay healthy, fit, and prevent chronic diseases. However, this new research, which looked at nearly 400,000 adults over 20 years, found no evidence that multivitamins provide any real benefit when it comes to preventing conditions like heart disease or cancer. Surprisingly, the study showed that people taking multivitamins had a slightly higher, so a 4% risk of dying compared to those who didn't take them. The researchers and health experts interviewed for this article suggest that if you're eating a healthy diet with plenty of fruits and vegetables, you're likely getting all the vitamins and minerals you need without supplements. They recommend talking to your doctor before starting or stopping any vitamin supplement or supplements. It's important to note that some people, such as those with certain health conditions or dietary restrictions, might still benefit from taking multivitamins. However, for most healthy adults, focusing on eating a balanced diet might be more beneficial than relying on a daily multivitamin pill. Yeah, and that's just a huge business, right?
Yeah.
Vitamins is like $1 billion industry, at least here in the US. So
I remember when I was a medical student, I was just in my family med rotation, and we had a patient come in with chronic nausea. And, you know, like as a medical student, we're supposed to go in, take a history. We need to confirm all the medications. And with medications, we're always trained like anything that you take, not just a prescription.
Right.
So any over-the-counter things, what are you taking, right? This person had like 12 supplements.
Lord.
Like 12 supplements that he's like, and I take this for this, and I take this for that, and I take this for this. And I looked at the man and I'm like, I would have nausea with all of this.
Of course. And you don't know how they interact with each other.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. Like you say that you're taking, like, let's say magnesium for stress, right?
Yeah.
But then you're taking something else for anxiety, you know? And then those two, okay, fine. You really think that pill goes into your stomach and is like, I am here for only this.
Yeah.
No, it's going to do a chemical reaction in your stomach.
Yeah.
And they're both or all of those are going to make something.
Yeah. And
Okay,
so I remember going to the doctor, my attending at the time, and presenting my patient, I was like, this is a whatever male presenting for follow-up on his chronic nausea. And the first thing I said was, did you know that this guy's on like 12 supplements? And then he was like, what? And then I'm like, yeah, he's like on 12 supplements. And he's like, he needs to stop. And I'm like, yeah, he needs to stop the 12 supplements.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, these are like supplements that are not prescribed, right?
Yeah.
So these are supplements that, you're probably influenced by, and you're like, well, maybe that'll help me, or maybe this targets this, and then maybe it'll help with that.
Exactly, yeah.
So, but then you end up taking 12 supplements, and then you're having chronic fatigue and and nausea.
And then you wonder, like, where is it coming from? It's like,
Exactly.
At that point, it's doing a lot more harm than good,
Exactly.
So, anyway.
All right. Dengue fever. CDC issues alert amid.
I would say amid.
I've never said that word in my life.
Really?
Yep.
Oh.
All right. Dengue fever. CDC issues alert amid U.S. and global spike in cases. This is by Finn Cohen, June 27, 2024 on Healthline.
Dengue
So I'm so
fever's
happy.
scary.
Yeah. So I'm so happy that we're talking about dengue fever, because I have been telling all of my parents, I'm like, mosquito spray. Please, like repellent. Even for kids, you need to put on repellent. We're seeing dengue here.
Yeah.
And it's because of all this heat and everything. And it migrates, right? That's how things kind of work.
Yeah.
So the Centers for Disease, the CDC has issued a warning about a significant increase in dengue fever cases in both the United States and around the world. So dengue fever is a viral illness spread by mosquitoes, causing symptoms like high fever, severe headaches, pain behind the eyes, joints and muscle pain, rash, and mild bleeding. Here are some key points. There's been a noticeable spike in dengue fever cases globally and in the U.S. This increase is concerning, as it suggests that the disease is spreading more rapidly than before. Common symptoms are going to include high fever, that's a big one, severe headaches, severe pain in your body, okay? They call it like the bone crushing disease.
Yes.
Joint, muscle pain, rash, mild bleeding. These symptoms can be quite severe and uncomfortable. And also, that's just the most common symptoms of dengue. You can have hemorrhagic dengue.
That scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Man.
Which is a much more severe version of dengue, which requires hospitalization, blood transfusions. It's really important that you
And hemorrhagic means that you're bleeding, right?
Yeah, you're bleeding. You have to get platelet transfusions and all of that.
And it's internal. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it means that's like internal bleeding. Right?
Yeah, internal.
Yeah. So, I mean, think about that. This is not a joke. This is pretty bad.
Yeah. No, there are people that die from hemorrhagic dengue.
Well, when we were in Grenada, there was, I think it was one of the summers that we were there. We were there for 2.5 years. And dengue, it spread. And people, I think there was like 2 students in Mario's medical school class that got it. And one of them ended up having to go to the hospital because he was already having a little bit of the signs of the
hemorrhagic dengue.
And then
very scary.
He even had to get transported over to the U.S.
Yeah.
He had to miss that semester from it and everything. It's very scary.
Yeah, it's a very severe form of dengue, and it doesn't matter if you're healthy or if you're not. You can have hemorrhagic dengue.
Yep.
And we'll talk a little bit about prevention, but the transmission is through bites of an infected mosquito. And it's important to take precautions to avoid mosquito bites. So the best way is to avoid mosquito bites. And that can be done by using insect repellent, wearing protective clothing, and eliminating standing water where mosquitoes breed.
Yes.
Okay? So
this could happen anywhere. It's not just in Florida or the South or islands. This could be up in New York.
Yeah.
It's hot. There will be a mosquito.
Exactly. And before, what we were seeing is that, yes, everywhere there's going to be some sort of mosquitoes, right? So wherever there's mosquitoes, there's always going to be some risk, right, of a mosquito-borne illness. But before, things were more common in certain areas, like in the Caribbean and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So now, because of the temperature changes around the world, we're seeing things become more common in different places.
Yep.
So a lot of people aren't really aware of this dengue, right?
Yeah.
They probably think, no, dengue is not a U.S. thing.
Yeah, you just find that in the Caribbean.
In the Caribbean or in
countries,
Thailand or something
India,
like that.
Or, something like that. No, not at
So
all.
we are definitely seeing it here. So the CDC recommendations, they advise people, especially those traveling to areas where dengue is common, to take preventative measures seriously. They also recommend seeking medical attention if you experience any of the symptoms of dengue.
Yeah.
The CDC alert aims to raise awareness and encourage preventative action to reduce the spread of dengue fever. Okay, so by being informed and taking necessary precautions, we can help protect ourselves and the community, and everyone kind of serves as a protection shield.
Yeah, yes.
Wear your insect repellent, people.
Please, and get rid of any
Beat.
and get rid of any standing water.
Yeah.
Get rid of it, rid of it, rid of it. And if you can't get rid of it, then throw in like a chlorine tablet or in it, or
Kill them.
fish.
Yeah. They'll eat them.
Yeah, the fish will eat them. So, there's plenty of ways to deal with it. Okay. Anyway, all right. So next one. So TikTok is the main source of health information for a third of Gen Z, survey finds. So this is by Kathy. The Evie. I knew that you were gonna. Anyway, so by Kathy Casada, I think, on July 8th, 2024, published on Healthline. So a recent survey has revealed that TikTok is now the primary source of health information for about 1/3 of Gen Z, which are those born between 1990s and early 2010s. This trend highlights the growing influence of social media platforms in shaping young people's understanding of health and wellness topics. The popularity of TikTok is the big thing here. So the platform's engaging and easily digestible content format has made it a go-to resource for health information among Gen Z, which is funny. I saw it on TikTok, talking about TikTok,
Yeah.
that this generation and the younger, even I think it's Gen Alpha, the one that comes after them, they go, instead of Google, they go to TikTok.
Yeah.
They use TikTok as Google.
Yeah.
And while us millennials were like, oh, Google
Google
it.
everything,
No,
yeah.
they TikTok it. It's crazy. Anyway, so trust and accessibility is another thing that TikTok gives them. Many young people find TikTok to be more accessible and relatable compared to traditional sources like doctors or official health websites. Doctors right here. Seek your doctor.
I have a story coming up.
The other thing that's appealing is content creators. So influencers and health professionals on TikTok are playing a significant role in disseminating health information, often using creative and entertaining methods to educate their audience. And then the concerns that this raises is that while TikTok can be a valuable tool for spreading health awareness, there are concerns about accuracy and reliability of the information being shared. Misinformation can easily spread on such platforms, potentially leading to harmful consequences.
Yeah.
Go off.
So I'm a firm believer that we need to grow and learn, and we need to roll with the times.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? So yeah, exactly. We need to adapt, right? This new generation coming in is very much into electronics, right?
Yep.
And that's going to include not just social media, but the way that they get their information. Yep. All schools are now moving to more computer-based books.
Yep.
Everything is just more electronic. I mean, truly, when's the last time you bought a book?
I know. Yeah, I can't remember, honestly.
I use Audible.
Yeah.
I use PDF versions if I need to read something. When I was in medical school, a lot of my books, yes, I had a lot of physical books because I had to take notes and I just preferred it. But a lot of my books were PDF versions, right? And even now in today's world, when I go look at certain managements, treatments, and new information, I go online.
Yeah.
So we need to adapt, right? However, because of social media, right? Anyone is allowed to post anything.
Exactly.
So this is where a lot of misinformation comes into play. This is where a lot of anxiety comes, because I can't tell you the amount of times that I said, well, I saw a TikTok about this girl or this lady or this family doing this and this and that. And
this is your bread and butter. Yeah. Like
this
you
is
must
my
see
bread
this
and butter
every day.
So the story I was going to say, I just had a patient yesterday. She's 15 years old and we're talking about her weight. And she's like, I'm trying to gain weight and I'm trying to do this. And I'm asking her, I'm like, okay, well, tell me, like, how much are you eating? Let's see what your calories should be and all these things. We're kind of talking like what it, and she tells me, she's like, do you know AI? And I just looked at her and then I was like,
how old do you think I am?
Yeah, I know. I was like, how old do you think I am? But
God.
I told her, I was like, of course I know what it is. And she's like, okay, well, I just ask AI, I put in my weight and how much she puts in all her information into AI. And she's like, and I just follow what AI tells me. And then I say, okay. So again, we're adapting, right?
Yeah,
I'm not going to be the person to be like, no. So what I do say is you need to be careful with AI.
Yeah.
Okay. Because AI is very new and it's not a solid way to go about things.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about macros, proteins, and all these things, and all the things she's telling me is like all wrong, right? She's like, I should be eating this much amount of protein and this much. And I'm like, no. Okay.
I'm sure it's not taking into account her history,
or anything, her ethnicity, like anything, right? So I tell her, I was like, how about we go to a nutritionist? And she literally just is like, what is that?
No.
Yes. She's like, what is that? And then I'm like, wow. I was like, you know more about AI than the nutritionist, which is the literal person that deals with this.
The professional for this.
So what I'm getting at is that really nowadays, because they have phones, it is more easily accessible for them to get on their phone, and they just go by, oh, this must be, I'm just gonna do what this, and they don't understand that, right?
No. Yeah.
So I educate them, like, let's go to a nutritionist. There's a lot of online nutritionists, and they can help you confirm to see if what AI is telling you is it is or not. And I can tell you, and I told her, I was like, I can tell you right now that there's a lot of weird things that you just told me, so I wouldn't trust the AI, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I think we do need to adapt, and I do think that there's a lot of really solid platforms out there.
Yeah.
Okay, us included. I'm just kidding. Shameless plug. But there's a lot of platforms out there that really strive to provide accurate, evidence-based information. Robust, right? Robust information, and that way that you can stay on top of the correct information. You're gonna find a lot of weird things out there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but at the end of the day, and I always encourage people, I always say you should do your research before you have your conversation with your doctor, right? Or with the person, with your provider. You need to have an educated conversation, right? Don't go in blankly. Don't go in saying, well, I saw this, but not really do more research, right?
Yeah.
So go do your research through good websites, good material, good evidence-based medicine, good resources, right? And then that way you can have an educated conversation and you can make educated decisions. And this goes for adults and for
for sure,
my adolescents.
For sure. But it's just exactly, we are adapting to it, and AI is slowly making its way into medicine.
Yeah.
But right now it's in its infancy.
Yeah.
Like we don't really, it doesn't know everything, which is why you see every time you use AI, at least it tells you like, oh, double check your sources or whatever, because it may not be accurate or whatever. That disclosure is practically in every AI that I've used. Yeah. Don't just, the long and the short of it, don't rely on TikTok for everything as like face value. You know?
I think you can go into it with an open mind and see what you see. But then go ahead and just don't believe whatever you see, right?
Yeah, just right off the bat.
Exactly. Just go ahead and confirm and make sure that you're having these sort of conversations. I always encourage people to engage in different conversations and ask me questions. I'm going to provide the best answers to my knowledge based on evidence-based medicine. So yeah, but I think, I think we need to adapt with the times. I think that social media is becoming an easier access for people to have some sort of information. And I think it's great that people are kind of spreading their experiences and things like that, because that gives depth to a lot of things.
Right.
However, that doesn't mean that it's 100% true.
Yeah.
And that it's going to work for you.
Right.
Right. So
Absolutely. anyways, but that's it.
That's crazy. 30%. 30%.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
And then ask myself, I want to get that survey, and then I want to do a follow-up survey and see how many of those people that answered 30%, when's the last time they saw their doctor?
Exactly. It's got to be eons ago.
Eons ago. Right.
For sure.
Okay. All right, another one on Ozempic. Ozempic may protect against cognitive decline and addiction. This is by Ricardo DeGiorgi, Ivan Koichev?
I guess.
Koichev?
Yeah.
And his friends. Published on The Lancet on July 10th, 2024. So this is a really new study, super interesting.
Yeah.
Again, we need to make a whole entire podcast just dedicated on updates on Ozempic.
Seriously.
So a recent study looked at how diabetes medications like semaglutide affect brain health. So here's what they found. 1, semaglutide doesn't increase the risk of brain or mental health problems compared to other diabetic drugs. 2, people taking semaglutide had lower chances of developing memory problems or dementia. Crazy. 3, surprisingly, semaglutide users were less likely to become addicted to nicotine, which might help with quitting smoking. 4, the drug didn't increase the risk of depression or suicidal thoughts. Very important.
Super.
5, people taking semaglutide had lower death rates overall, but this needs obviously more long-term research. So while the study can't prove semaglutide directly caused these effects, it suggests that the drug is safe for brain health and might even have some benefits. These findings should be reassuring for patients and doctors. Researchers recommend more studies, obviously, to confirm these potential benefits, especially those for memory and quitting smoking. And there has been some, what's the word I'm looking for? Like cravings for alcohol?
Yes, it curves it.
Curves it. Yes, it
Yes.
curbs your
I have heard
alcohol
that.
cravings. So I'm really excited to see the research that's going to come out from that.
Exactly.
We've heard a lot of things about fertility, increasing fertility.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really excited to hear more things about that. So again, stay tuned with our recaps. We're going to be going
Yeah.
over a lot of these things, and hopefully we can have a dedicated episode to just like
Yeah. It might
See.
be it might be a
our-
couple of parts, but yeah, like,
Yeah.
definitely.
our 1 year anniversary for our semaglutide.
Exactly. Yes.
So maybe we'll do like our 1 year anniversary to our semaglutide episode. It was one of our most popular
It
episodes.
really was. Yeah. Still
And
is.
I think it still is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right. So next, a study found toxic metals in popular tampon brands. Here's what the experts advised by Rachel Trayson on July 11, 2024 on NPR. I am sure that if you have any form of social media, you were bombarded with this news, because at least I was. It was everywhere. It was on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. Yeah. So let's dive into it a bit. A recent study has discovered something concerning about tampons that many people use every month. Scientists found small amounts of toxic metals like lead and arsenic in several popular tampon brands. This is the first time a study has looked specifically for these metals in tampons. While this news might sound scary, experts say there's no need to panic just yet. The study didn't prove that these metals are actually harmful to our health when used in tampons, but however, it does raise some important questions about the safety of these products. So here's kind of what you should know about that. The study tested 30 tampons from 14 different brands. They found small amounts of metals in all the tampons that they tested. Some tampons had higher levels of certain metals than others. And because of this, experts say we need more research to understand if these metals can actually get into our bodies from tampons and if they might cause any health problems. So for now, they suggest a few things that you can do if you are concerned. These are it. 1, consider trying alternative products like pads or menstrual cups. You all know how I feel about menstrual cups since the last episode. 2, look for tampons with simpler ingredients. And 3, pay attention to any new information or guidelines from health authorities. This is very, very new news. So more is going to come out of this. I'm certain of it. And the good news is that this study has caught the attention of the FDA, which is the agency that oversees tampon safety. And they're looking into these findings to make sure tampons remain safe for use. So that's why I stay on board to this, because more is going to come out on this. So,
but my thing is, why are there metals in tampons?
I know there's no need for it.
I'm just like, I would love to talk to the manufacturer to
Yeah.
tell me why is it that they need that in there.
It's for absorbency. Why do you need metals?
Yes, and seriously, like in this day and age, do we really need metals in our tampons?
Yeah.
So
I don't see how metal absorbs.
And I know that right now experts are kind of saying no need to panic. They're kind of looking into this and stuff. But at the end of the day, I don't want metals.
I don't want arsenic.
Yeah.
In my body.
Why is that in there?
Yeah. Arsenic is definitely lethal to us.
Yeah. A lot of women actually suffer a lot of like pH changes and stuff like that with tampons. So, I mean, but shit, there's arsenic, there's metals,
Lead.
just throw in all the metals in there.
I don't understand. And yeah,
And that's why and that's why the menstrual cup side of everything
Yeah.
is really on the uprise
Yeah.
because of all these things.
It of course it has to.
Yeah.
It has to, because this is concerning.
Yep.
So yeah, just stay abreast to it, because there's definitely going to be more coming out on this. I'm certain of it.
All right, so psoriasis joins a list of diseases tied to air pollution by John Gever
Yeah. I don't know.
by John Gever on MedPage Today on July 16, 2024. Air pollution might be linked to more than just breathing problems. A new study suggests that it could also increase your risk of developing psoriasis, which is a chronic skin condition.
Check out
our psoriasis episode. Researchers looked at nearly 500,000 people in the UK over 12 years. They found that those living in areas with dirtier air were more likely to get psoriasis. The risk was even higher for people who already had a genetic tendency towards the condition. The study focused on tiny particles and gases in the air that come from things like car exhaust and factories. People exposed to more of these pollutants had up to 47% higher chances of developing psoriasis.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's almost half.
Exactly.
While this doesn't prove that the air pollution directly causes psoriasis, it adds to the growing evidence that poor air quality can affect our health in many ways, not just breathing it in. The researchers hope that this will encourage more efforts to clean up our air and protect our people's health. And again, there's so much going into our research when it comes to eczema, psoriasis, all these chronic conditions.
Because they're becoming more prevalent.
Yeah, and just skin condition just doesn't mean that it's from the outside.
Right.
What if psoriasis, it's autoimmune, right? But you're breathing this in. How is that affecting you internally to create this autoimmune?
It's causing like a cascade of something in your system to create that. Yeah. Yeah, it triggers it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so next, which is another very, very trending, Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and a lot of those neurodegenerative diseases is really, really up and up in the news these days. Parkinsonism, I can never really say that right, in athletes linked with chronic trauma encephalopathy pathology. So that's the CTE, where I'm sure if you've heard of it from
football. Yeah.
Football players, boxers, stuff like sports with head trauma in it, by Judy George on MedPage Today on July 16, 2024. A new study looked at the brains of nearly 500 athletes who played contact sports and have passed away. The researchers found some surprising connections between these sports, brain injuries, and symptoms that look like Parkinson's disease. About 1 in 4 athletes with a brain condition called CTE also had shaking, slow movement, and stiffness before they died. These symptoms are similar to Parkinson's disease. However, their brain changes were different from typical Parkinson's. Instead, the damage was linked to repeated hits to the head from contact sports. The study showed that the longer an athlete played contact sports, the higher the risk for developing these brain changes. For every 8 extra years of play, the risk for more severe damage to the movement control area of the brain went up by 50%. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's crazy.
This research helps us understand how repeated head impacts in sports can affect athletes long after they stop playing. It suggests that what looks like Parkinson's in some former athletes might actually be caused by their history in contact sports. These findings emphasize the need for better safety measures in contact sports to protect athletes' brains. They also show that doctors may need to think differently about how they diagnose and treat movement problems in former athletes.
I mean, this is good research.
Yeah.
Right? But to me, it's if someone is involved in a motor vehicle accident and they have head trauma, right? 9 times out of 10, they're going to get diagnosed with a concussion, right? Or traumatic brain injury, right? And they tell you, hey, traumatic brain injury can have lingering symptoms, right? We're talking about months after that, right? So to me, you have a sport where this person is constantly having head trauma.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the head trauma is the same as a motor vehicle accident.
Yeah.
But we're talking about repetitive head trauma.
Yeah.
Right? I'm happy that this news is really gaining a lot of popularity because we should be protecting our athletes better.
100%.
We should, I don't know how, if you play the sport, you play the sport, you're
Yeah.
going to have that risk, right? But does this information need to be relayed to a lot of people to make a more educated decision on whether they want to play the sport or not?
That too. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think right now it's very common for people just say, yeah, you know, maybe like they get some things in the future with the brain. And no, and now we're having some concrete evidence
Yeah.
of,
It's pretty concrete. Yeah.
you know, of Parkinson's and all these long-term sort of slow type of neurodegenerative changes. It's definitely something that it's not just a little hit on the head, maybe a concussion for a couple days.
It's much more severe than
It's
that.
much more severe than that. And there's also multiple research showing that when you have a concussion, there's like that two-hit theory.
Okay.
When you have a second concussion,
Yeah.
it's gonna like kind of be worse than the first.
I did hear that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Maybe we should do an episode on concussions.
Yeah. Yeah. CTE or whatever.
Yeah, CTE, yeah.
All right.
Cool. So, what the 9 human cases of bird flu in the U.S. so far tell us about the disease. This is by Arya Bendix on July 18, 2024, and this was on NBC.
We've been following this news.
Yeah, we've been following this news, and it is so insane how it started with no humans, right? No human infections, and not to worry. And then, hey, worry, the animals are now like transferring it one to the other.
Yep.
And then there's 2 human cases, and then now there are 9.
It's developing.
Yes.
Yep.
And then if you tune into our episode, last episode, we were having a moment on the 1.4 million or something?
Yeah. The chickens that were just
The chickens that were going to be off. Yeah. So, okay, well, back to this. So, mild illness in humans. All 9 human cases of bird flu in the U.S. have been relatively mild. The individuals affected were farm workers who had close contact with these infected birds. So, I just had a visual. I don't know, a chicken like coughing on a human, like, bitch, you're gonna kill me. Like,
Yeah.
You're gonna, yeah, exactly. I hope you
Take
get
that.
infected. Yeah, take that. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, back to the news. So, contrast with birds and mammals. While bird flu has been deadly for many birds and some mammals, the human cases have not been severe. This contrast highlights differences in how the disease affects different species. The symptoms of human have included typical flu-like symptoms such as fever, cough, fatigue. These symptoms have not escalated to any severe illness in reported cases. The bird flu virus primarily spreads among birds, but can also occasionally infect humans, especially those in close contact with the infected birds. There also has been no evidence of virus spreading easily from person to person. I don't know. Well, let's see what our next recap is going to show.
Yeah, I know, because it just keeps developing.
It just keeps developing, yeah.
I think we started like early this year, like February or March.
I know, and it just
with
keeps on
this.
going, yeah. Farm workers and others who handle birds are advised to take precautions such as wearing protective gear and practicing good hygiene to minimize the risk of an infection. All right, well, we'll see what the next recap holds for us with the bird flu.
Seriously, a month from now.
I know.
We will see. Oh, Lord. Anyway, all right. Remember that massive IT outage that happened?
Huge news.
Yeah, it affected the medical world too.
Yes, it did. A lot of, I think on the news, it got more popularity, the airlines,
Yeah,
but it affected a lot of hospitals.
it really did. Anyway, massive IT outage disrupting hospital care by Kelly Warimu Davis, MS, and Kara Grant, MS, on July 19th, 2024, published on WebMD. This article discusses a major computer system breakdown caused problems for hospitals in several states. This issue made it difficult for doctors and nurses to access important patient information and carry out their usual tasks. Company responsible for the affected software called Xperity. They provide technology services to many urgent care centers and emergency rooms across the country. And the problem started on Monday, but it has continued to impact healthcare facilities. Because of this technology failure, some hospitals have had to switch to using paper records instead of using the usual digital systems like the EMRs and all
How
that
we
stuff.
love that downtime.
Oh boy. This change is slowing down patient care and making it harder for medical staff to do their jobs efficiently. So Xperity has stated that they're working hard to fix the problem, but they haven't given a clear timeline for when everything will just go back to normal before like that outage. They've also mentioned that patient data hasn't been lost or compromised due to the outage. And Well, the situation just highlights how much of a concern this modern health care relies on technology. When these systems fail, it can cause significant disruptions to patient care and hospital operations. So yeah, I remember Mario, he wasn't working that Friday that it happened. Remember that came out in the news or whatever?
Yeah.
But he was getting like through all his emails and like work messages and all that. It was
Insane.
insane.
Yeah.
The hospital. And he works in a
Luckily,
major
where I
hospital
work,
itself.
where I work, we did not get affected.
Okay.
So I'm very happy because I don't want to do paper charts. I don't want to do paper charts.
I can't even imagine you guys having to do paper charts in this day and age. Like, I can't even.
I mean, when I was in medical school, we still had paper charts.
Wow, really?
Yes. So it was always, the chart was always somewhere floating around somewhere.
Yeah.
And we're talking about one chart for multiple specialists sometimes. So it's, you go to your chart and you have like 6 other patients to see and you need to document, but one other person is documenting in the chart right now. So then you like grab a paper, you start documenting, and then you like ask the nurse, can you put this in the chart after they're done? And it's just this whole entire mess.
Yeah, and it's easy to like misplace things.
Misread things,
Yes.
lack of also documentation. Like there's no way that you're going to be able to document like every like 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So we try to document as much as we can, obviously. But of course with an with an EMR, it's so much easier.
Yeah, you can't even compare.
Yeah, it's like scan, go, give the med.
Right,
You know,
right.
like everything is so, you know,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier for everyone, right? And you can have multiple people documenting at the same time.
That too, yeah.
So this could be really crappy for a lot of people. So then hold on a second. It doesn't just stop there. So a lot of people just think like, oh, well, whatever. You just have to write it in a paper chart. No, my friend. When you document on a paper chart, you think the hospital's going to scan all those charts?
Oh, yeah.
No, they're not. They're going to wait for the EMR to come back on.
Yeah.
And you have to manually insert all those things that you already paper charted.
Oh, no.
Yes. So everything that you had to do on paper, you then later on have to backtrack and log in.
Oh,
Yes.
my God. What a nightmare.
Yeah. It's just a lot. It's very inefficient, especially in today's world in medicine.
Yeah.
All right. Bacteria found in sealed tattoo ink bottles. Scurry.
Yeah.
Scurry.
Yeah.
By Megan Brooks on July 19th, and this was on WebMD. Recent research has found that some of the sealed bottles of tattoo and permanent makeup ink contains harmful bacteria. This is disgusting.
Horrible.
This discovery is concerning because these inks are injected into the skin, providing an ideal environment for bacteria to grow and potentially cause infections. Here are some key points. So 1, contamination in the sealed bottles. A study by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration tested 75 sealed ink bottles from 14 different manufacturers and found that about 35% were contaminated with bacteria. These ink bottles, I mean, you're talking about people that tattoo eyeliner, tattoo their eyebrows, tattoo their lips, right?
Yeah,
tattoos in general.
Yeah, it doesn't, it's exactly what she was talking about. It doesn't have to be like your typical sleeves, your, you know, body tattoos. It's like in your eyes sometimes.
Yes, and some of these bacteria can cause chronic infections, right? And it might not only just be bacteria. What happens if you have some sort of atypical bacteria or a fungus or something that is just constant treatments? And there's reported and documented cases of people that need chronic treatment because of needles and things like that were infected from going to like, I don't know, like
whatever
med spa or something.
Yeah.
So
we did cover one of those.
Yes, we did. So at the end of the day, 35% is a big number.
That's a
right?
lot.
Especially to just take a bottle and just test it, and 35% comes back.
35% of them came back infected.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So the types of bacteria that were found included both aerobic, which need oxygen to live, and anaerobic, which thrive without oxygen. Some of these bacteria can cause really serious infections. The infections from the contaminated ink can lead to severe health issues like skin infections, which we were just talking about. If it really is invasive, then it can cause endocarditis, which is an infection of the inner lining of the heart. And then you can also have an even more severe complication, which is a septic shock, which is a life-threatening infection.
Scary as hell.
It is scary, and all from people don't connect the dots, but it can lead to that.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Higher risk in certain individuals. So obviously people with multiple larger tattoos, those getting permanent makeup near sensitive areas like the eyes, all of these
Lips. There's a bunch.
it's going to have a higher risk
Yeah.
of infection.
Yeah.
So there obviously needs to be better safety measures. The study highlights the need for stricter manufacturing processes and better sterilization techniques to ensure the safe of tattooings.
Yeah.
And this is a really big industry.
It is. It's a huge,
It's a
and it's
huge
even
industry.
getting more popular now, I think.
Yes.
You know?
So this is a huge industry. And then you think that they would have these certain standards.
Yeah,
right?
exactly, in place because it's been around for a while. It's only getting more popular. So, like, why? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so next one. The CDC issues a warning after at least 2 deaths in a listeria outbreak linked to deli meat. And again, this one went everywhere. I'm glad it did because
I
when
need
you
to make a
have
video today.
when you have recalls like this, it should be broadly broadcasted because it's serious, you know? By Rebecca Rosman on NPR on July 20th, 2024. The CDC is warning about a listeria outbreak linked to these deli meats. This outbreak has caused at least 2 deaths and 28 hospitalizations across 12 states. New York and Maryland have had the most of the cases. The outbreak is mainly affecting older adults, with most patients being over 65. People got sick after eating various deli meats sliced at deli counters, not prepackaged meats. Listeria can cause fever, muscle aches, and other flu-like symptoms. It's especially dangerous for pregnant women, older adults, and people with weak immune systems. To stay safe, the CDC recommends that the high-risk groups avoid deli meats unless they're heated until steaming hot. If you have eaten deli meats recently and feel sick, please see a doctor right away. The CDC is still investigating to find the exact source of the contamination. In the meantime, be cautious with deli meats and practice good food safety at home.
So again, this is not the pre-packaged meats. It's the one that you actually go and ask for and they slice for
In the
you.
deli counter.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So keep an eye out for that, guys.
Yeah, and it's a pretty big spread, 28. Okay. All right, so why do some people lose more weight through exercise than others? This is by Corey Pelk on July 22nd, 2024 on Medical News Today. Have you ever wondered about why some people seem to lose weight more easily than others through exercise? Scientists may have found a clue to this question. Researchers have discovered that a protein in our bodies called PGC1 alpha plays a crucial role in how we burn energy during exercise. This protein comes in different versions, and some people have more effective types than others. Think of PGC1 alpha as a tiny manager of your muscles. When you exercise, it tells your muscles to burn fat more efficiently. However, not everyone has the same amount or type of this protein manager. Scientists have found that people with certain versions of PGC1 alpha tend to burn more fat during their exercise. They also have a lower percentage of body fat compared to those without these versions of proteins. This discovery could help explain why some people see better results from their workouts than others, even when doing the same exact exercises. It's not just
so
about...
frustrating.
I know, it's so frustrating. I'm just like, well, I work harder than you.
Exactly. Like, what the hell?
I think there's a lot of it. I don't think it's just this protein, right?
No, but this is something
There's
else.
genetics and there's dieting and there's a lot of things that go into losing weight. However, this is really interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not just about the willpower or effort. Our bodies might be working differently in a microscopic level. So this finding could lead to new ways to help people lose weight in the future. However, remember that regular physical activity is still crucial for overall health, regardless of how quickly you see the results.
Yeah.
So it was so funny. I was literally just telling Julie when I walked in that, you know, I'm like exercising all the time and I'm eating healthy, and it's like it's really
Frustrating.
hard. Yeah, it's really hard. So now I'm just reading this. I'm just like, someone just shoot me up with GPC1 alpha. PGC1 alpha.
Exactly.
Just shoot it up.
And that's the thing, like, this type of research allows then, and you're like, oh, well, this PGC1 alpha does this, so how can we try to incorporate that? What can we do with it? Can we make a medication out of it?
CRISPR.
Exactly.
CRISPR, modify it for me.
That's what I'm saying. Can you imagine?
I know, that would be crazy, right?
That'd be amazing.
I know, that would be amazing and crazy.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Anyway, so next one. Arizona officials warning about spread of potentially fatal hantavirus by Shiv Sudhakar ND on July 23rd, 2024 on NBC.
Rodents.
I didn't even know what hantavirus was until I saw this.
Gross.
Oh boy. Anyway, so Arizona health officials are warning about a recent rise in hantavirus, which is a serious illness spread by rodents. In the last 6 months, 7 people in Arizona caught the virus, and sadly, 3 of them died. Hantavirus is carried by mice and can cause severe lung problems in humans. People can get sick by breathing in tiny particles from mouse droppings, pee, or spit. They spit?
I don't know, girl. They're constantly eating things. It's disgusting.
That float in the air. Oh my God. And then that spit. Anyway, at first, it feels like the flu with fever and body aches, but it can quickly become dangerous if not treated. Unfortunately, there's no cure or vaccine for hantavirus. To be safe, it's important to clean areas where mice have been very carefully and avoid touching rodents. Be extra careful when opening up old sheds or barns that have been closed for a while. While it's not common, hantavirus can be very serious. So if you feel sick after being around mice, see a doctor right away.
Yeah.
Gross. Cool. Yeah.
All right. So city versus country versus suburbs. Who's going to be happier? So this is by Dennis Thompson on July 23rd, 2024, Healthy News. Before I read this, would you be happier in the city, country, or in the suburbs?
Okay, well, I feel like it comes with like your phase of life. Okay, so pre-kiddo Julie thrived in New York.
Yeah.
I was all about New York. I loved living in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
It was the best. It was the best time while I lived there. I really, really loved it. Great. Now, post kiddo Julie.
Julie today.
Current Julie of today with kiddo and mother. In New York, hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no. I'm thinking about like the stroller, going down the stairs, up the stairs, the no car, the parking, oh my God, it sounds like a freaking nightmare. The living situation, the cold, the hot.
It does. It does sound like a nightmare.
Sounds like a nightmare. Then you have a country, like the polar opposite. I would have hated my life.
Yeah.
If I were without a kid living in the country.
Yeah.
That sounds like a nightmare to me. Now, with a kiddo, I fantasize about living in the country in Texas, in a ranch in Texas. Yeah. Like when we lived in San Antonio, I was just like, can I just stay in this ranch for like ever? I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear anybody. I want my kid to just run free with the horses. Like beautiful freaking Tennessee. So I see how different it is though.
Yeah.
Like before, if you would have put Julie or pre-kiddo Julie in freaking in the middle of a country back then, like no. What about you? Because there's some people that since day one, with or without kiddo, they rather one or the other.
I don't think I've ever been a city person.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think
I've the opposite.
No, I've never been a city. I like the city. I enjoy the city, but like for a few days or something. I think I've always just been a suburb type of person. Right? Okay. So it's like you're close, but still like far. You can get away from it. Exactly. But when I was in high school, I wanted to live on a farm.
Really? You see what I mean? That's exactly what I'm saying. Some people just like,
really? I wanted to live on a farm. I didn't want I don't know. I just wanted to live on a farm.
Oh my God. Yeah. I was a polar opposite when I was in high school.
Not that anyone asked me these questions, but I remember in high school that I was just like, my God, I would really just love to go to the Midwest and just live on a farm.
That would have been a nightmare for me.
But I will say, when I went to medical school, I lived in South Jersey. And South Jersey, it's not farms, but it could get pretty rural there. And I wasn't too sure about it.
You're like, oh.
I wasn't too sure about it. I think it's really beautiful. And I think wherever you live, you're going to find the beauty in things. I still think I'm going to be a suburb person. So I have like best of both worlds. Like I can escape.
Yeah.
So I have that peace and everything, but I'm still close enough to when I want to enjoy the city, I can. I don't think I could live super like rural, you know?
Yeah.
But maybe I can. There's like a lot of changes that people go through in life. Maybe I say that now and then later on I was like, why haven't I done this sooner?
That's what I'm saying.
You know?
That's what I'm saying. And you've always kind of lived in like a suburb type
in
of
a suburb type.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm definitely more of a suburb type of person. However, I would even go a step, if there was a step between country and suburb, like in between that, I would go there.
Okay.
So I do tend to be
So like a
more-
small town
like a
feel.
small town feel. Yeah.
Which I love. Now that I have a kid,
100%.
a town with just one main street, give it to me now.
And coming from the girls that are in Miami,
Currently living in it.
currently in Miami,
Yeah.
2 blocks away from one of the most popular places in Miami.
Yeah. And I was always
So-
born and raised in this area right here.
Yeah.
Which is always like,
Yeah,
we're
popular.
pretty much
Yeah.
in the center, you know, born and raised always in this area.
Yeah,
right
this
here.
is not. Well, it's kind of suburb. Miami's a little weird. It could be considered suburb.
You're more in a suburb.
I am more in a suburb.
Because
area.
she's more like in a Kendall area, so it's a
Yeah.
little further from this
Yeah.
craziness that
where my Kendall people at. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. And me, I'm more in like the Gables, and I've always born and raised in this area, which
Yeah.
is like their financial district, the Gables financial district's right here, you know, all that. So it's like traffic.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Lunchtime is,
Yeah.
you know, it's like that's
And before then, I live in Kendall now, but before,
yeah.
where my Westchester people are. Westchester.
For those of you that don't know what that is, because you're not from Miami, obviously.
Where my Salvaceras at.
It's like another type of suburb. It's more Hispanic leaning,
Yeah.
I guess you could say, right?
Yeah.
So anyway,
So,
yeah.
but
so
I, but
those
I,
are answers.
I think I would definitely be happier
Yeah.
somewhere way more chill. Not a lot of people. So like maybe
Yeah.
small town.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely small town vibes. I'm definitely a small town person.
Yeah, we have some friends, really good friends of ours, that they live in Boerne, Texas, which is like 45 minutes to an hour north of San Antonio.
Yeah.
And it's a small town. Obsessed.
Yeah.
I would live there tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's exactly that. It's like you have everything that you need. You have, everything, you know, all in that one strip. And then you have the suburbs, the homes around it. It's perfect for like a family.
Yeah.
When you're in that family stage of your life.
Yeah. My brother bought a property in the Catskills in New York.
Yeah, there
well,
we go.
you know, I've told you about it. It is like everything.
Perfect.
It is perfect.
Yeah.
Good bagels, the best bagels I've ever had. Good breakfast spots, good coffee, great pizza place, groceries nearby, and just open space.
I have goosebumps.
I know. It's like
I love it. That is so me right
Yeah,
there. I
yeah.
love that stuff.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that I live down here. There's no season.
It's
just
not
hot.
unfortunate.
It's just
Let's
hot.
not be negative, okay?
Heat.
You know, let's not be negative. But we're very blessed. Okay, we're blessed to live in the city that we live in. Okay, because there's a lot of people that
No, I know. I'm joking.
Yes, I know. We're not taking
being
it for
dramatic.
granted. Yeah, we're not at all taking it for granted. However,
Yeah.
we do feel like we would be happy. Yeah, we do. It would be nicer to live
nice.
to live somewhere not in Miami.
All right, so let's get into the actual
exactly,
article.
the actual article.
After that massive tangent.
Yeah, but it's okay. That's what our
Fantasizing, right?
podcast is about,
Oh,
right?
100%.
All right, so a recent Health Day article reveals how happiness varies among people living in cities, suburbs, and countryside. So city dwellers generally report lower happiness levels due to higher stress and health issues, even though wealth can improve the well-being. If you have money in a city, you can probably get away with a lot of things. Suburban areas often called the Goldilocks. Okay, so I don't know why when I read that word I was like, what is this word? Suburban areas often called Goldilocks zones offers the highest happiness levels.
There you go.
There you go. Providing a balanced mix of the amenities and quieter lifestyle. People in rural areas also report high happiness thanks to the peaceful surroundings and the close-knit communities, although their happiness is slightly less than the suburban residents. So again, if I could just find that happy medium between rural
Small town.
and suburbs, I would be like that for me is the goal.
And I feel that like Boerne, you know, it's 45 minutes away from San Antonio. So you need an airport, an international airport.
Yeah.
You need anything like big hospital, whatever. You're 45 minutes away. From
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
It's not too bad.
It's not too bad. Yeah.
So it's
But I don't want to drive 3 hours to go to my nearest Walmart. So
exactly that. You see, that gives me anxiety.
yeah, that gives me anxiety.
You know, it's
or like 45 minutes to your nearest doctor.
Ooh, no.
Yeah.
No, I have a kid. I can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Anyway, so HIV drug, the next one, obviously, sorry. So
Next article.
Next article. So HIV drug that is quote unquote closest thing we have to a vaccine could be made 1,000 times cheaper by Laura Simmons on July 23rd, 2024 on IFL Science. So a promising new HIV drug called lenacapavir.
Yep.
Sure. Might soon become more affordable. This drug is special because it only needs to be taken twice a year, making it easier for patients to use. It works by stopping HIV from spreading in the body and could potentially prevent new infections. Right now, lenacapavir is very expensive, costing over $42,000 per patient. But researchers have found a way to make it just for $40. That's awesome. If this becomes possible, many more people could get this powerful treatment, especially in poorer countries where HIV is still a big problem. This could be a game changer in fighting HIV worldwide, helping to treat current patients and prevent new infections more effectively than ever before. It's fascinating.
I know, it's really great.
Yeah.
Especially for HIV, such an important topic that sometimes I feel is not talked about enough.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like there's constantly new medications like coming out
yeah.
in HIV, but kind of like different versions of the ones that they already have. So it's nice. It's really nice to see some new news on HIV.
Absolutely.
All right. So twice yearly injections promises 100% HIV protection. So by
this kind of piggybacks on that one.
Exactly. So this is by Lisa O'Mary on July 24, 2024, and this was on WebMD. Scientists have developed a new prevention method that's showing amazing results. Here's the scoop. Imagine protecting yourself from HIV with just 2 shots a year. So instead of taking your daily multiple doses of pills,
which are like a lot of them.
No, there's a lot, and you have to take them at the same time. And if you stop or you miss a dose, then that could potentially lead to some sort of mutation and then resistance, and then you have to change your medications.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's really difficult. That's what the new treatment is offering. So a big study with thousands of women in Africa, it actually worked perfectly. Not a single woman who got the shots contracted HIV. So let's talk about the actual shot, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, what's the shot?
Yeah.
So the injection is called Sunlenca, okay, made by Gilead Sciences. It could be a game changer for people who struggle with daily pills or face judgment for using HIV prevention medications. These results were so good that the researchers decided to offer the shots to everyone in the study right away. While this is great news, there's still questions about how much it will cost and who will be able to afford it. Right now, the injection is approved to treat HIV in some places, but not yet for prevention. So more studies are happening, including one with men and transgender people. Experts are hopeful that this could really help reduce HIV infections, especially in areas where it's most common. But remember, other methods like condoms and daily pills still work well and when they're used correctly. This new injection could be a big step forward in making HIV prevention easier and more accessible for many people around the world.
Yep.
Guys, we're talking about, I'm just trying to set the picture here for people that maybe might not know.
Right.
With HIV, sometimes you need to take multiple pills.
Yeah.
Multiple pills daily, sometimes multiple times a day, right? And now they have an injection that is only twice a year.
Massive.
What?
Yeah, and that works. So that's why it's so...
I mean, talk about compliance.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. And accessibility.
Yes. Now, we'll see how accessible it's going to be since they're like already talking about pricing and who's going to get it.
But I feel like it would be more easily accessible to people because you only have to seek this medication out twice a year versus all these pills you have to take all these days and it's a lot more to it. You know? So
and at the end of the day, I don't understand. Insurances want us to be healthy, right? Quote unquote.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I could have a whole entire TED talk on that.
Yeah. That's a whole spiel.
Yeah, that's a whole spiel. But it's crazy to me that insurances will not cover this because of how expensive it is, right? But we're talking about you're increasing the compliance.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
If you are increasing compliance, then you are inevitably going to increase the success that people stay out of the hospital, out of certain complications from HIV and AIDS.
Exactly.
So it's going to, in a sense, it's going to be less expensive for you. Right? So why not? But that's not how to make money.
No.
Right?
No. Yeah, that's a whole massive tangent.
Yeah, that's a whole massive tangent. Sorry, guys.
No. I mean, it has to be talked about. All right, so next article. Oral dissolvable birth control pill receives approval from FDA by Alexa Gerlach on July 24, 2024 on Pharmacy Times.
Tell me more. This sounds really great for my 16-year-old patients that can't swallow pills.
That's it. So a new type of birth control pill has just been approved. It's called Fenlith. I think.
Fenlith, yeah, I think so.
And it dissolves in your mouth instead of being swallowed whole. This is great news for people who have trouble taking regular pills. And Live works the same way as other birth control pills, but you just have to put it on your tongue and let it melt. It's just as effective at preventing pregnancy as traditional pills. This new option makes birth control easier for some people to use, especially those who struggle with swallowing pills or have certain health issues. Remember, you'll still need a doctor's prescription to get this, just like any other form of birth control pills. And then this way, you could get proper advice on how to use it safely as well.
Yeah. And this is great because you'd be surprised how many people, even adults,
Yeah, 100%.
that cannot swallow pills.
Yeah, or they hate it or whatever. Like, this is just another option.
Yeah.
That's always a positive.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was
That was our recap
for this month.
or at least those were the things that made it onto our recap.
Yeah, exactly. If we missed one, you want to hear us talk about something in particular, let us know.
Yeah.
We'll be more than happy to cover it. But thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys everywhere else. Please keep on commenting, keep on engaging with us. We love it. We love hearing from you guys. And check us out in all forms of social media. Our email is also funnymedicine305@gmail.com.
Yes.
Check out our Patreon.
Yes, check out our Patreon for different episodes and completely different individual episodes.
Yep, they're full episodes just like this, but exclusive to our Patreon subscribers. And of course, you'd be helping us out to keep up with everything. So
Yes, so like us, share our page, share
all
our
the
podcast, repost us.
all the things.
We appreciate it.
Yes.
And if y'all have any suggestions for any episodes, let us know.
Yes, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.